going on, everyone? We won! Rising won! Let's freaking go! Welcome into the PHNX Rising podcast. Rising win 2-1. I don't know what you guys
Max is buying beers.
Let's go. I'm not buying beers. We're not in the stadium, but Rising won 2-1 against the top of the East, freaking Birmingham Legion. No, Rising win on the road. Who would have seen it? I am Max Simpson, and I'm joined by a man who is rocking in Sweet Home, Alabama, where the skies are so blue, and where Rising get 3 points on the road. Mr. Owain Evans, how the heck we doing? Oh, dude, stop it! No, let's go. I don't care.
What a way to.
This is not the time for your size. Let's go.
It's more of the sigh of relief now. Okay,
the sigh of relief.
This win has been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming. When you look at just again the fact that Phoenix Rising against San Diego should have probably done better. Okay, should have come away with a better result. When you look at how they played for a lot of it, you look at It's just felt like this has been a long time coming. And now they've finally actually gotten over the line. You can finally breathe that sigh of relief. We've seen them win a game now here in the league. And not only have they won a game in the league, they have done so against a team that prior to this was unbeaten. And quite frankly, I didn't expect anything close to a win. A draw, I thought, would have been a fair result here.
I would like to have everyone direct their boos in the chat for me allegedly holding this up to Mr. Owain, who predicted a loss for Rising, and they showed out, and not just with a win, but with a dominant performance. Anyone watching this, in neutrals or anyone, you can clearly see Rising was the better team from start of the whistle to the end whistle, ending this match. It wasn't even close. I mean, I think there were some.
I'm getting there. Let's be real. I'm getting
there. There was some nervy chances for sure, but if you really look at this objectively, this is taking off my Rising fan hat here. They were the better team, and I mean, I stand by that. I don't think that it was close in the sense that Rising really had full control of this game. Even after they equalized, you never thought this was getting away from them. At least on my end, I didn't think they did, and especially after that second goal goes in, nothing that Legion did told me otherwise. Let's go.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel as though, look, when Rising got the second goal, you think, okay, do they have enough in them to win this? Ball hits the back of the net later, and you think, But obviously it was offside. The flag goes up immediately. I think that, to be perfectly frank, let's get it out of the way initially, right? A lot of people didn't like the way the referee handled multiple parts of the game. I think that's perfectly fair. In some ways, I think there were a lot of yellow cards sometimes that maybe could have been avoided, although at the same time, as the second half continued, Phoenix Rising was picking up yellow cards and things that didn't really give the referee any choice but to give yellow cards for. But I will say that I think the officiating crew as a whole got the biggest decisions of this game correct. I think the decisions on offside on the goals were pretty much all spot on. And so when you come away with that in mind, I mean, it's the home crowd here certainly wouldn't agree with that, but I think that ultimately their impact on the game was fine. It wasn't too bad at all.
100%. And I want to get into the numbers, but just a second. I do have to get this out of the way and honor the chat. Cheers up to you guys. We're taking this out of a toilet bowl. You see that correctly. Fireball. Thank you for those of you who have jumped in with your requests. Here we go. Cheers. Hope you're taking something there. My word, it is just as awful as it looks and as it tells. Let's get right into the numbers, shall we? Put that graphic up, get my face out of here. Producer Emma, here we go. 2-1 in favor of Phoenix Rising, the possession-dominated team with 53% possession, 11 shots to 14. Again, they got outmatched within that one, but they had the more quality chances. Here's the key, though. Both teams were caught offsides 3 times, and a total of 3 goals were taken away due to offsides calls in this game. 2 taken away for Legion, 1 taking away for Phoenix Rising. And the one other thing we did not put on those numbers, 11 yellow cards, 9 yellow cards for Rising, 2 for Legion. Here's a crazy stat. 15 Rising players played today. 9 of them, so more than half, were carded. Nuts.
Yeah, a lot of guys. People were complaining about my background, so I just turned around.
Wait, whoa, what the? This man just teleported. I'm taking shots of fireball. This man teleported. We're already here. What's going on? I'm not in the dungeon. I'm in the light here. What's going on? It's a day, man. It's a day.
It's been a day. A day.
What in your opinion, do those stats tell the story? The most one that really tells it all for me, it is the yellow cards that we mentioned. And I think there's something where a couple rising players, especially down the stretch there, you're kind of looking and you're thinking, oh, that could be a double yellow for some of these guys.
It's a risk. It's certainly a risk. Actually, let's use that as a good excuse, of course. As we always do on this show when we're away from home, we do bring you exclusive interview content with Wangera. Let's have a look at one of those now. I asked him about if, with all those yellow cards, the kind of way that the game was being played, was that what he expected going into it? Here's what he had to say.
I didn't, but it also reflects a character that this team has. It was good to see that they were fighting all the way until the end. It was good to see that they were able to hold the result when we were winning, playing on an away field with the fan base from the away team on top of them. So that was good. That was very good. And listen, at the end of the day, we need to keep growing. We need to keep getting better, but we're definitely in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, this man's view continues to change, but no,
just lean backwards. Yeah.
It's nice. There you go, man. No, but
I hope this glass behind me holds that I'm leaning on, because otherwise I'm done for.
We're teeter-tottering a bit. No, but it's very interesting. Like I agree with what Juan said in that I'm not sure whether it does tell the full story of those cards and everything like that, but I think it is on the upward trajectory, and you see this team improving from game to game, from match to match, and this is just carrying over from the result on Wednesday. That one was a bit nervy. This one, a little bit nervy down the stretch, but a bit of a different story here.
Yeah. I mean, look, by the end of the game, it felt very much like Phoenix Rising was employing the dark arts. Let's be real. We always like to call it the dark arts. Other people will call it very CONCACAF kind of football-y look to it all. It was finding excuses to try and get the ball out of play in awkward ways. Booting it out into the stands, booting it away from the position of the restart, all kind of stuff like that just slows the game down. And it's why we saw 7 minutes go up on the board. We actually saw 8 minutes played of stoppage time at the very end of the game. Some people, I know I saw at least one person did tell me during the game they thought it was a maximum of 6, really, it should have been. The thing about it is when you get all of those cards for that kind of offence, many of which, to be perfectly frank, were pretty obvious, you don't really give the referee much scope, do you? You don't get many favors. Yeah. You never get many favors when you ultimately act like that. So, yeah. Also, shout out here to Andrew Dang in the chat, pointing out the fact that actually for once, Phoenix Rising in the white kits coming away with a win.
There you go. Like that. Love to see that. No, it's I think it's one of those things where if you are the team who is winning and, creating those opportunities where you have to have the ref step in, you love that, especially on the Rising side where, you'll take those. You'll take the extra cards because it's something where, going down the stretch, you want to see a team wasting off time, and that's how you see off a game. It's a bit harsh sometimes for the other team, but so be it. You got to love to see that type of energy. The one that was interesting, and I know that you were probably rage quitting as you saw it, was the one for Kev Lambert, maybe the bit of the throwaway on the sideline. I think that one was incredibly soft, but really all the other ones pretty justified. And I mean, hey, I'm here for it, man. If you're going to be a team who racks up the fouls, brings that intensity, it's one of those matches where the ref wants to call everything, and that's all right.
It is. You know what? Should we take, though, We always, I've got one other clip from Juan. Should we take it now, the slightly bigger picture one, which is that I kind of asked him, look, he always says after these games, he's a performance. He bases his decisions on performance, not necessarily on results. And he bases his opinions on that as well. But just how important was it that they ultimately came away with a win today, just for morale even within the team? Let's have a listen to what he had to say.
Owen, it's huge. But I'm going to be honest with you. And I was telling you earlier, I don't think more or less of our players today because we won than how we felt when we were in San Diego and we lost 3-0. I think of each one of those players in that locker room exactly the same way. We're performance oriented and we want to put together a lot of performances that lead to good results. The players today put a good performance that led to a good result. Today we win and we still have a lot of things to improve. We still have a lot of things to get better at. But I mean, at the end of the day, last week and the week prior to that, we were doing a lot of things properly as well. So tonight, we enjoy it. Tomorrow we start focusing on the game that's going to be next week. That is going to be very important, and we're back home with our supporters. And listen, we have to give them back. We have to give them back, because last time we were together, we were so close and we couldn't close it. Tonight we close it, and this is for them. But next week we want to see them in the stadium again, and we want to make sure that we get back to them as well.
Man, this again.
Every time it goes away, I change slightly. This is a much
I don't think we have any more videos
setup.
for you to train. Yeah,
this is a much more comfortable setup, so don't worry. I think it'll be sticking with this from here on out.
Oh, that's fair. I don't think we have any more videos for you to transition into a new background to. Anyway, no, but I think I'm curious to hear your thoughts on Juan's perspective, because I think that's something we've been saying pretty much after every match, that even they were hard done by the result in San Diego, that even in performances where you're not getting the number of points that you're hoping for, still a lot of things to grow on, and that this team continues to get better regardless of the result each and every match.
Indeed. And look, there were still things I think to improve on slightly today. I feel as though Rising had a few chances that, quite frankly, they could or should have put away. And then the game looks completely different. I think in the first half, you have Manuel Arteaga he has that one-on-one. He never really gets a shot off. That's not really good enough, I think, if you're a centre forward in that kind of position. Right. You get in that kind of run, you should be aware of where the defenders are and how they are relative to you. You should be aware of how heavy your touch is to a degree, and make sure that you get a shot off in enough time that you know it's going to be okay. The problem is you didn't even get a shot off from there. It just feels like an utterly wasted opportunity. The other one I think that really sticks out in mind was Manuel Arteaga's little back heel, almost, wasn't it, to Danny Trejo. He plays it across perfectly.
Yeah.
And Trejo, it was that kind of moment you look at and you think, normally this should end with one of two things. It ends with a goal, or it ends with a fantastic save. In this case, it didn't. It ended with the ball being off target. And it's disappointing. It's disappointing because I think actually in that position, maybe kills off the game.
That you said it, you took my words right out of my mouth. That's something that, you're thinking at that point, a 3-1, that was what, later in the waning minutes of the game, it felt like. That's something where kills the game off. And that's something where we continue to hammer home with this team, that there's so much quality, there's so much talent. You had the issue in the first two matches of them starting off slow. And in these past couple matches, they have been starting out hot, becoming the more dominant team, growing into the match. But see, then that opens up the other kind of quandary is they have not been successful at completely killing off games without a benefit of the doubt. Again, something that they've improved on match over match, results in 3 points here, but just you want to not leave it so late, because sometimes the ball's not going to bounce your way, and that game could have been a draw, 2-2 draw for all we know.
Could have been. Again, that sigh, it's a sigh of relief, I think. We get used to the sigh of just, why are we watching this? And we've had that enough over the last year and a bit. But today, things just went right in the end. Things just went right for Phoenix Rising. All those disallowed goals, everything like that happened. And still, Rising manages in the end to hang on, to come away with 3 points against a very difficult opponent and record the first win. Look, this team, quite frankly, are top 3 in USL so far this season. You've come away from home today and beaten them in their own backyard.
Gotta love it. I mean, hey, if there was going to be a day where my bet on BetMGM did not hit, where I put a draw on Rising to draw, then, so be it, man. I'll take it for a Rising win any day. And the man responsible behind that Rising win, it is our player of the game, the one, the only, Mr. Carlos Harvey, his third player of the game award this season. He got the one after San Diego Loyal. He got the one this past Wednesday after Greenville Triumph. The man was absolutely everywhere, scoring the go-ahead goal, the decisive goal. And it was 0.33 XG that he had off of 2 shots on target. But again, that goal was only 0.31 expected goals in that XG range. It's not one that he may look easy, but that's not an easy goal. And the other thing, 14 out of 16 duels won. The man was absolutely everywhere. He showed his class very early on in this match with just some cheeky dribbling, that beautiful ball over the top that we mentioned, that first real a chance for Rising with Manuel Arteaga failing to hit the mark. But like, he brought that quality, and you can just see him bossing in the midfield on both sides of the ball in transition. He is seemingly everywhere. There's a reason why, hands down, he is often the best player on the pitch, not just for Rising, but really both teams. And sometimes it's not even close. The man is just pure class.
I think it's just how critical he's becoming to this team in a lot of ways. How critical he is when it comes to working out the tempo of the game. That's something that's always, I guess, a problem this team can have when you're looking at it from a possession-based style. The thing about possession-based football is it can be quite slow. We've seen that at times this season. We've seen it quite a few times whereby realistically the defenders are probably going to pass it around themselves quite a bit. And they do every game they do. The real question then becomes, when you get it out of that back line, what are you doing with it? And to me, Harvey is often pretty instrumental in doing so. I think that he's just ever since he's showed up this season, ever since he's been putting those minutes in, he is just on a different level to some of those other players around him. I mean, again, you said it yourself, 3 player of the game awards, of which I believe he only played in 4 games.
Yeah.
He's above this level. Let's be perfectly honest. Carlos Harvey,
correct, everything but the opener.
That USL Championship. The only reason that he's still here is because he's in that awkward in-between space whereby he's better than USL Championship and not necessarily quite good enough yet to be a regular kind of guy at MLS level. And if you're Phoenix Rising, you should be grateful that that's the case, because this is a guy who I think for the rest of this season is going to prove pivotal. And hey, he's just going to be big, I think, all year.
No, 100%. And I think it's more than just the stats tell. And like kind of what you're saying is he really is that step above everyone else. It's not just that he is often one of the, largest guys on the field, especially in that midfield, but that he slows the game down. And I don't say that in a negative where, to your point, it's not like he's slowing down possession or he's not able to strike quickly, but he's a player who's very proactive rather than reactive, both in defense, where he's able to, win a boatload of duels. He won possession 11 times today. And also in the offense, he's able to play the long ball to break lines. He's able to quickly distribute out to Zambrano or play it around the back, but then he also has that in his bag to play it over the top. It's something where he brings that added dimension. And it's another game where by having him playing alongside Zambrano, it allows them both to do the best thing that they do, where Harvey is a bit more of the attacking. I'm going to dribble forward. I'm going to play passes. Zambrano has that in his bag as well, but he's really able to be that roaming, bit more defensive midfielder. I'm going to be everywhere. I'm going to win every ball midfielder out of the two. And it's a really cool combination that we've seen between these two. The chemistry, it's clicking, and it's awesome to see. It really is.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, we've said every game, it feels like it's getting better. Every single game, there is improvement. And as long as that is happening in this kind of a transition year, whereby the team is moving away from more of a Rick Shantz's philosophies to Juan Guerra's philosophies, you've had a complete reset pretty much in terms of the playing squad. That's all you can really ask for, is they go out there, they put it all out on the field, and they improve from week to week. That's exactly what we're seeing here from this team.
100%. No, and we love to see the improvement week to week from them. All you can ask for, they're putting out all on the line, providing you what you need. Speaking of providing you from what you need, it is our friends over at Circle K. They've got what you need on deck. Oh, and I know you are already going to hit a nice Circle K after this match ends. Again, like we covered in Friday's show, there are 2 Circle Ks within 10 minutes of you at the stadium. So you got to love it. You can get them anywhere throughout Arizona, anywhere in Alabama, and make sure that you're not missing out on all the great stuff they have going on. The beer specials, the energy special, coffee specials, everything like that. You head to circlek.com/store-locator. Again, circlek.com/store-locator to find Circle K's near you. And speaking of having a good time, Hope you guys are enjoying a nice beer. You know, I was during today's match. Of course, it's none other than our friends at Four Peaks. We got a lot of great stuff going on, and that is the NFL Draft on April 27th. It's at Four Peaks 8th Street Pub. Register for free in the link in our show notes to take advantage of beer specials. That's $3 Redbird Lager pints, $5 Redbird Lager pitchers, and our usual PHNX beer specials. So if you like the other kind of football as well, come out and join us. You must be 21 years or older to enjoy responsibly, but you don't have to be 21 years or older to enjoy the responsible match that we just watched. And we had a couple really highlight performers. We talked about it a bit. The two goal scorers. Well, we talked about Carlos Harvey, right, as our player of the game, deservedly so. Let's talk a bit about Danny Trejo, because the performance that he brought coming in off the bench, it's something where you just see he has that different level of he is looking to go forward. He's able to take people on the dribble. And yes, he missed his fair share of chances. Had the one that he's teed up to Lambert that got called back, but he is class and even kind of shows in us that bag of, hey, I'm going to find a back post header and score the opening goal to start this match off.
Yeah, I mean, even look, we've already done a little bit of criticism as to, he should have been more clinical with that one chance that he was given by Manu. But at the end of the day, there's still positives to take from the fact that he's getting in the right places, that he's getting in those positions, that he's going to have the opportunity to tuck it away in the first place. I think that's just massive. I mean, look, I feel as though Emil Cuello, he struggled a little bit today. I mean, it's not necessarily a surprise, the amount of minutes that he's played overall. And yeah, no, I haven't teleported again, Devon. It's just getting darker outside, so the reflection and the lights kicks in a bit more. But it's just, yeah, I mean, he came on, gave completely new energy in there. And I mean, he gave an energy that Emil Cuello probably couldn't have given to an extent, because A, he's a bit of a different player, and B,
yeah,
it's even later on when Danny ultimately took his yellow card, Emmy wouldn't have had that opportunity. Emmy was on a yellow. And so I think that, look, things like that, it's always good, always good.
If I'm doing my math correctly, Rising has scored 5 goals in the championship this season. 2 of them have been from Gabby Torres to Danny Trejo for the goal. That's a bit of an interesting combination. You saw on that goal, the first goal that Gabby Torres swung in, there were 3 Rising players. And if Danny Trejo wasn't going to get to it, you saw 2 that, I mean, assumingly on sides, that they also had a crack at it. So I think it's something where Rising is continuing to take advantage of swinging out to those wingers, to those outside backs, and really just being able to put balls in back post there. That speed threatens, speed kills in this match. And it's something where you saw again. So I like that shout, especially Danny Trejo, also as well as the combination with Gabby Torres. Another player to me that stood out in a really positive way. And I'll actually kind of give the pair to in the back. Defense was pretty solid for the most part, but I will single out again Kev Lambert, captain, put in a great shift, and also Alejandro Fuenmayor. And I'm curious to see if people, had one favorite over the other, but I thought the both of them in particular had a pretty strong match. They didn't really lose along the in the middle of the defense, didn't dive in much. Yes, there were a couple fouls given away, but honestly, they set the tempo for this team and didn't really get beat out too much.
Yeah, and this is now, I'll tell you, this is the difference we get when things that you pick up when you go to these away games. Kev Lambert was huge today.
Yeah.
Not necessarily just for his play, but he is starting to grow his voice and his leadership a lot more than he previously was. It is becoming quite apparent that he's starting to grow into the role of wearing the captain's armband that he's wearing when Darnell King isn't here. Mm-hmm. It's huge. It's huge. I mean, I don't know. For those of you, Max, you watched it, obviously, from Arizona. Did they show after the final whistle Phoenix Rising players all gathering in together?
I did not see it. I also was scurrying to get some stuff down for our show, but yeah, I did not see that.
So they pulled, the players all came in together into a huddle. And by the sound of things, it's Kev Lambert that was responsible for that.
Yeah. For
that talk with the boys. And it's just good to see. Because I think for a lot of us, Kev Lambert was a big, big part of this team. But there were always questions over quite how he would adapt to a captaincy type role, how he would find his voice on the field for a guy who wasn't necessarily that way inclined. A large part of that is because, he's been here for ages, but he came to Phoenix Rising at a very young age, and he isn't the oldest even now. So there was a lot of question marks over that. It looks as though he is stepping into that role. So, look, as a whole, definitely a big improvement on his part. And I think it's going to bear fruit for the rest of the season, that as well.
100%. That leadership, it's powerful. It's something where he does continue to grow. I don't want to say he grows into the captaincy, but you see that he's their longest tenured player for a reason, and it shows. And just the way he wills the team on, not just in how he's vocal, but also just in his play. When have we seen this season where he's had really a bad game or even just a bad decision? No one's going to be perfect, and there's going to be times where maybe he gets beat here and there, but it's not something where it's a lack of ability, not a lack of positioning, and he just brings it. Again, he's one of those guys, what you're getting from him, and that's massive to the captaincy.
Indeed it is.
Indeed, it is. I'm curious, right? Because we're kind of talking about some of the negatives. Looks like the chat is disagreeing with my take that the defense was solid. I'm seeing, you see SE Collective saying I wouldn't go that far. Devin saying defense was mid. That's fair. And agree to disagree.
I'm gonna slightly amend what you were saying, and I think this is something that needs to be played into with there's the middle ground here.
Okay.
I think that defensively, Rising was fine. Where they may not have been fine is that they were still trying at times too patiently and I'd use the term hospital pass on times in terms of getting out of the back. And I do wonder a little bit if sometimes people conflate the two, but I wouldn't really call the playing it out of the back defending. And I think that's something slightly different here. I think defensively, when they gave the ball away, they were adjusting better to those situations. I mean, look at it this way. The goal that Rising conceded, that was the first save that Rocco Rios-Nova had to make. And look, maybe there was a little bit the defender stood off. I actually think Rocco, to be perfectly frank, should have done better with that. I feel as though he should have gotten better, gotten himself behind the ball better. The way that he spills it backwards into his own net is not what you'd expect to see, I think, on a shot in that kind of position. This wasn't an outstretched fingertips can't quite get to it. No, he should have gotten more behind that shot. And it's disappointing, but ultimately bailed out by Carlos Harvey.
Agreed. No, and I think
why we can talk about this now and not be too concerned.
This is true. No, but I think to your first point about I would not conflate the two, that I think there is a separation between defense playing the ball at the back and defense playing straight defense. I mean, Rising, they faced 14 shots today. 3 were on target, but I mean, even there, they got their bodies in the way. That one goal, I agree. I think Rocco should do better, especially knowing that it's not like it's a ball that's really deflected. It's not like a ball where it's a snapshot out of nowhere. You could see, I mean, at least on the broadcast, you can see like that shot, it's going to happen. And it's coming like 3, 2, 1. Like, he's going to shoot it. You just don't know where it's going to go. Could have done a bit better with it. I mean, my reasoning for the defense being solid is I don't think this wasn't a game where Rocco had to bail the team out, where you didn't really have control of it, especially down the stretch. A couple of those corners, a couple of those frenzied balls coming into play could have gotten away from them, and they held firm in a away hostile. Well, I don't want many fans. I wouldn't say hostile, but a match where they were expected to lose. Anytime that happens, you go on the road and win. That's a good performance to me. It is.
Indeed. And look, again, I think I've said it a few times. We do need to really state this point. This is a statement win. This is a statement win given the quality of the opposition and what they have shown so far this year. Are Birmingham Legion perhaps struggling? I mean, I tweeted it out before game time about how they'd only named 6 subs, especially after a busy week. Is it more of a concern for them about their depth and the lack thereof? And could that come back to bite them? But there's still a lot of talent on this Birmingham Legion squad. And ultimately, I mean, look, in the first half, they weren't on top. In the second half, they weren't on top. I think it's You can look at this, and I'm sure a few people will look at it and say maybe a draw was a fairer result, but I don't know. I think it would be harsh to look at this and say that Phoenix Rising didn't deserve the win today.
I completely agree. You know, it's one of those games we can't really play the what ifs because I don't think it was, there was an unfortunate roll here or there. The goals that were scored in this match to me on both sides were justified. Yeah, some were ruled off for offsides, but I mean, I think they were all. I think Legion's offsides were both, again, taking my Rising fan hat off. Both of Legion's offsides were pretty justified. I don't know about that one where Lambert was called offsides. Unless you had a better vantage point, this one could have been 3-1, and I thought it did not look offside.
No, the indications I've had is that you're whining a little bit there, Max. He probably was offside.
Oh my gosh! All right, okay. Tough.
He probably was. Now the other one, now I know, and this is why, you know what? Can I get up on my little platform here and have a little rant?
I like to think you were never off it, but go on.
Rant. Right? Can we stop showing replays of controversial decisions in stadiums? Why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? Who does it help? Because I tell you what, it didn't help here. Didn't help when you've got videos that, to be clear now, don't conclusively show if Rising's first goal was offside or not. Because I have yet to see an angle that includes both the kick point and the positioning of the defensive line and of Danny Trejo. I have yet to see that angle. So and yet that riles people up. Why are we showing those replays? Why are we showing them? I mean, in a lot of parts of the world, you wouldn't be able to. That would be breaking a league rule. Not least because the response would be potentially on the violent side. But you just don't do it. You just don't do it. And more importantly, it also gets into that thing whereby there's still a period of time when the referees can ultimately decide to change their mind. Whether that be they talk to each other and reevaluate. You kind of shoot yourselves in the foot when you show videos, because then you get to a point whereby people are saying, I mean, if they've seen the video, you're not supposed to take that into consideration. So,
yeah, I mean,
and that's actually been given as an excuse before. I recall at least once. I can't remember quite which game it was. It was one of them last year. I'm pretty sure the referee said that he'd actually seen it on the screen and therefore couldn't really change his mind.
Stuff.
Despite the fact that he'd seen it on there, because you're not allowed to use the video.
Yeah. It's a head scratcher, man. I do hear you. I don't disagree. I think that's a systematic change that I'm sure we're gonna have to get to the root of. But I think
Rising stopped showing replays last year, and there's an allegation that a referee did the exact opposite. That he'd actually seen it on the screen, and they decided off of that they needed to pull a goal back. I believe it was a Santi Moa goal, where there was a concern over a player standing in an offside position in front of the goalkeeper had they interfered. And initially, the ruling was no, there was no interference involved. And then afterwards, the goal gets overturned. So Rising shut that off last year. It's not that difficult. You just have to have someone watching the broadcast footage you're putting up there and know when to hit the button that stops it airing the broadcast footage.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with you. I think that's the fair, reasonable thing to do. I mean, I bet when it was happening, you're probably scratch your head and saying like, man, oh geez, what are we doing? But when we say oh geez, we love when that happens, because our new collab shirt with our friends at OG's Brands is now live. If you want to get your hands on this dope collab tee, get your ticket to Budsapalooza. It is this Friday, April 14th in downtown Phoenix. Join our entire crew, myself included. We're going to be hanging with our OG's friends. We're doing a special live edition of the OG's PHNX variety show from Budsapalooza. Going to be an amazing thing. If you never have gone to Budsapalooza, just a fun time, whether you partake in the cannabis game or you do not. Super fun. They got live music. They got food. They got all that kind of jazz. Again, if you want to get your OG's collab shirt, head on over to Budsapalooza and get your tickets to Budpalooza at budsapalooza.com. It's in the show notes as well if you are interested in getting your ticket. Super fun. Come hang with us. Speaking of hang with us, or at least not hang with me, but hang with my friend, Mr. Owain Evans, Valley Taproom. They do Trivia Tuesdays. And Owain, you did mention you're going to be going this Tuesday starting at 6:30. Is that correct?
That's the plan.
Man, it sits on a fence better than anyone I know.
That is the plan. I'll be there. Come out. Come have a
There we go. All right, you hear that? If you show up there,
tell them that
Owain
Max
will buy you a beer.
And to
No,
put
Owain
them
will buy
on
you
his
a beer.
tab.
No, we are not getting. No, Owain, you will be there. You're buying them a beer. All right, cool. I didn't hear any
Max
objections.
is buying beers.
All right, get out of here. Nope. So yeah,
The chat has already demanded that you owe everyone beers, Max.
The chat always. Okay, what else is new? The chat always demands.
The chat has spoken.
I owe
the
beers.
people have spoken.
I've already indulged them with my shot of Fireball. What more do you want from me?
Max owes us all beers now. Thank you, Adrian.
All right. Head on over to our friends at Valley Taproom. If you joined them yesterday for their pub crawl, here was a great time. Our GM, Saul Bookman, was there. He had a good time. You know, all kinds of good things going on. Again, check them out at the northeast corner of the 202 and Gilbert Road. And again, go on Tuesday. Mr. Owain will buy you beers. All right, Reese, you are crazy. No, but yes. Okay. All right. Anyway, there's just so much going on in this match. And I know we talked about a bit. This was a statement win for Rising. And it's not going to absolutely catapult them up the standings, but this is something where if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. And that's what Rising did today. And that's going to have an impact on their USL season.
It will indeed. And I'll just say, actually, some good news for Phoenix Rising fans. Of course, Rising entered today in last place in the Western Conference. They may have only gone up to 9th. Who's now in last place in the Western Conference, Max? Give me a guess.
Oh, well, considering I have it pulled up in front of me, I know that answer.
Who is it?
Oh, it's Orange County.
Yeah, it is Orange County. Orange County, and then who else?
Well, also, not only is it Orange County, they've also played the maximum number of games so far at 5. They are -3. They are also at the bottom, New Mexico United with a -2 goal differential. And do you guess who also Rising catapulted?
Vegas.
You're darn right
they
today,
did. Phoenix Rising has overtaken Orange County, Las Vegas, and New Mexico United.
I mean, here's the crazy thing. Rising, again, we can play the speculation game all we want. Rising has at least 1 or 2 games in hand, depending on who you're looking at in the schedule. There's only, they would notch another win. That would put them in 4th place. Like, there's a lot that has to happen, but this was a massive win, especially at this point in the season. Gives them good momentum, and this is something where you hope to string this together because, again, the thing that we keep on coming back to, this wasn't a flash in the pan. This wasn't an anomaly game where Rising just got lucky or, this performance out of nowhere. This is something where if you ask the team, you asked Juan Guerra, he said himself, they continue to build. The result, you look at how they fared in other matches and who their opponent was, but this result shouldn't be shocking considering that it's gotten better every single match. And you just look at the team is a bit more clinical. It buries its chances. This could be the start of something beautiful.
And it's something that I think Juan has been talking about now for a very, I was going to say very long time. It feels like it's been a long time this season so far. But it was always the talk of, look, when this clicks, when it gets there, it's going to be good. When they finally get to that position where it is working, it's going to be good. We saw today what happens when the system works. We saw the kind of performance they managed to put in there. I mean, from here, it's really going to be interesting to see where they go. Now, of course, where they go is Monterey Bay, a home game. A lot of respect for Monterey Bay out of Rising's camp, especially after what they did yesterday, which I think is a good way to move into talking about some of the other results in USL that happened this weekend. Rising the only game today, but a nice large slate of games yesterday. Monterey Bay taking on New Mexico United, beaten 4-2. Very, very vertical team, very quick, very willing to try and catch you. I think they're going to prove a challenge. They play quite differently to how Phoenix Rising play, and it'll be interesting to see how those two styles match up. But regardless, that's a big win for them. To get 4 goals at home against New Mexico and be up at one stage to be winning 4-1. Is big. I mean, look, I remember seeing Monterey Bay yesterday. I think at one point they had taken 3 shots and scored 3 goals.
Efficient.
I mean, the whole thing was effectively making the most of the fact that Sam Gleadle's a quick man.
Yeah.
And it worked. You know it's coming. Can you deal with it?
Amen. Amen, dude. Well, I mean, also the other interesting result this weekend that we said it was the marquee match, San Antonio and SAC drawing 0-0. That's
0-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's an interesting one. I think the draw kind of leaves us all sitting on the fence as to who's in what kind of position, really, in that one. One little unsavory moment there with a young fan making his way onto the pitch. And
yeah,
I see that caused some controversy there. Went up towards Katia Koroleva, the referee. Went up towards, at one point, Sacramento's bench. Mark Briggs, the coach of Sacramento Republic, saying afterwards he wasn't particularly happy with the situation there, especially the way that, quite frankly, security at San Antonio didn't seem to really have any kind of grip on the situation. I mean, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I think, though, that there's a real point to be made here that when you, as a club, have security that lax, you're putting yourself at risk, because if that fan in the end, right, is just kind of vaguely pushed out the way by one of the players off the field, and security kind of try and get him. I mean, people say if he was naked. Actually, my concern here is what happens if he lays hands on the referee, because at that point, right, it doesn't have to be particularly violent. If the security is sufficiently lax that they don't look like they're up to anything, that's very good grounds for a match abandonment. And personally, whether USL drops the hammer or not afterwards, it is. If a fan goes up, kind of gives the referee a shove, I've seen, I mean, come on, it's happened in games before. UEFA have forced countries to play games outside of their own country because stuff like that happens.
Oh, I wasn't sighing out of disagreement. I was sighing as like, no, I completely agree. And I'm thinking back to, we've been to some stadiums, and you can see, man, like, I hate to say it, I'm not surprised at some stadiums' lack of security and that this has happened. Speaking from personal experience, I've seen way more lax, and you're just lucky something worse hasn't happened. You got to protect the game. Everyone on that pitch, both players and referees alike, like, there's no place in the game for that whatsoever.
No. And it's one of those things where, I mean, look, your average streaker that gets on and they just run on like semi-naked, and there's nothing of any real note. They're not really going for any players. Maybe it's a bit different when you're doing it in such a way that you are actually trying to antagonize people that are involved in the game. Whether you're trying to do so physically or not, that's not good. That's not good. And it's not really something that we should be applauding, despite what some people may or may not think on Twitter. But I think that's enough of the lecturing from us over that one. Let's have a look at some of the other scores as well while we're at it. El Paso Locomotive getting a 1-0 win over Orange County. El Paso on a bit of a roll now.
Yeah, man. The
Tampa Bay Rowdies 2-0 over Miami.
They're starting to regain, I don't want to say regaining form a bit. They're back up into 7th here in the East. We'll shake out right real quick, just in order in the West, just to give you guys a snapshot of where Rising stand. In order from 1st through 9th, Sacramento, San Antonio, Colorado Springs, San Diego Loyal, El Paso, Locomotive, Monterey Bay, Oakland Roots, RGV, and then Rising in 9th. And it's very timely because Rising's next handful of matches, Saturday, April 15th, home against Monterey Bay. They then go away the next week to San Antonio the following Saturday, going to New Mexico for that Open Cup match on Wednesday, and then they're back home again against Loudoun United, and then Tampa Bay Rowdies on the road. Like, it's a tough stretch of upcoming matches against teams that are either high up in the table or know that they have quality, and they've given Rising trouble in the recent history. So they got their work cut out for them for sure. Yeah.
It's going to be a very interesting next couple of weeks here in terms of just the pure mix of opponents they're going to face.
Yeah, 100%. Well, appreciate everyone who has been following along the journey, because we're excited to follow along Rising's journey, especially as they go home and everything like that. If you want to follow along with more of our content, especially stuff that we're going on at PHNX, all of Owen's articles and whatnot, all of our other shows and their written articles and content, please become a diehard. PHNX diehard. You can check us out at the phnxlocker.com. Become a diehard. Great deal, 80 bucks, was it $79.99 a year? You get a free shirt upon membership. You get a free shirt every year of your membership. You get 20% off events, merch. I see Pat Moses with a fantastic merch idea. The next t-shirt should be Max was supposed to buy a beer and all I got was this t-shirt. That's damn good. If we make that happen, you get 20% off a t-shirt if you are a diehard. So appreciate everyone checking us out and rocking with us again. Go to phnxlocker.com if you are interested in joining. Mr. Owain Evans, it was quite the day. I think you said it best, man, where it was a sigh of just relief. And I would go far as to say vindication of how their performances has stacked up to actually get the 3 points to go along with it on the road against the number one team in the East. Feels damn good.
Yeah. And actually, this is the one thing that those boys after that San Diego result promised each other they were going to get 2 wins. They've got 2 wins.
Darn right they have. Well, unless you have anything else, buddy, I think that darn wraps this up for this evening. No, you got to get on back to Arizona. Just a programming note for everyone. We had a good handful of shows last week, so you can catch us our next show on Thursday, back at our normal 6 p.m. time. We'll both be in studio, but again, no show on Tuesday. Catch us on Thursday at 6 p.m. in studio for your usual shenanigans. Until then, please follow us at PHNX__rising because double the underscore, Owen.
Double the fun.
Man, that was actually
especially on a night like tonight.
That was a bit of enthusiasm. I'll take it. You can follow me at Mr. Mac. Well, no, Mr. At Max David Simpson on Twitter. You can follow.
He doesn't even know his own Twitter handle.
That's not how usernames work. You can follow Owen at OJEvans18. Again, follow us at PHNX__rising. But until Thursday, have a happy Easter, everyone. Appreciate you guys joining us, watching this club. Fun day. Let's go. Let's freaking go.